Okay. Um, as you know, George Price, Papa G, passed away. When he did, I had posted a clip of an interview that was on the channel way many many years ago, way back. But in that interview, Papa G states that he's not sure why, but Suge didn't want to have anything to do with Nate Dogg, nothing at all, and that he wasn't sure why. Do you know why there was the issue with Nate Dogg, and can you speak on that?
Yeah, there wasn't so much an issue with Nate Dogg personally. The issue with Nate Dogg is, as y'all know, there were CDs printed up and done and everything. We did a video. I coordinated, and I remember doing the video at the Grand Century Grand Central down there at the train station. You know where you go in for at the bus stop and all that for Never Leave Me Alone. We paid Death Row paid for that video, and so we were moving forward. I think this is like '98, so I'm in charge. Sometime in '98, '97, '98. But this is what the artists and we were trying to keep quiet, and most people didn't know. And why when Snoop said his check got cut off, and all of that in like November of '98, because we was giving him 50,000 a month, and he said it didn't come out. The last one he got was like in October or November of '98. All that's true. All that's true, y'all. What they didn't know when we was trying to get worked out was Interscope had took a clause in Universal in our contract where Suge was getting $1.5 million a month, guaranteed, and everything to be paid for. So we got that all through from '95, well '96, because that particular deal didn't get executed until August of 1996. So we got it from '96, all of '97. But come mid 1998, Interscope was like, we don't want to do business with you. We can't do business with y'all no more. That's what Jimmy said. We can only do business with y'all on the Tupac stuff. We don't want Snoop, Nate, or any more albums. We don't want anything else to do with you guys. And so they cut us off sometime in '98. I forget the dates. It had to be around September, August of 1998. And so now we're not getting that $1.5 million again. So now me and Suge is stressing. I'm figuring out how we're going to take care of all these bills. And so we, down south, we went and got a deal with Priority. Brian Turner gave us a deal from $1.5 million guaranteed to $350,000. It's a drastic pay cut, y'all. A drastic pay cut. I know y'all be like, that's still a lot of money. Well, not for a business, not for a company. And so a lot of things started getting cut off, and people, that's when the cars had to start getting turned back in, and we had to, cut costs. And some decisions had to be made. And they didn't want, even though they gave us money to do the video and all of that for Nate Dogg, they didn't want to distribute the album. So during this time, Nate Dogg feeling like the album or the staff and everybody was like, what's going on? Why y'all not putting the album out? But we can't tell everybody what's going on. They didn't know the ins and outs in the business. They learned about it from Chuck Phillips in the LA Times, just like pretty much everybody else did. And what George Price did and Papa G did, though, is we had no way to put out Nate Dogg's album. The last album that was distributed by Interscope, other than a Tupac album, was actually Lady of Rage album. And that's kind of the reason why her album wasn't promoted and did as well as it should have been. That's why Daz and Miss Chalet and Gridlock and Gang Related and all of that was distributed by who? Priority Records. And so Universal, I can't say Interscope, but Interscope and Universal are now partners. And Edgar Brofman didn't want to do any more business with Suge, and they took that clause to get out of the contract of him going to prison. And so, yeah, that's what happened. That's what Papa G didn't know, and that's the reason why the Nate Dogg album wasn't put out. Now, what we did, there was this guy out there, had this record company called Breakaway Records. And Nate Dogg was out there. Nate Dogg was still making his money and doing stuff because he was singing on everybody's hooks. That's when Nate Dogg was on it. He was the king of hooks, right? And Nate Dogg was like, okay. Nate Dogg got off his ass and went to work. Got out there in the streets and was riding around in his Escalade limo. Y'all remember that, y'all? Anybody that was around? Nate Dogg went and got out in the streets and started working. And was doing hooks on everybody. But now, you know me, Reggie and Suge, like, hey, Nate, you can't be doing that. We got paperwork on you. They was like, fuck y'all. I'm making my money. Y'all gonna have y'all little 50% publishing, but I'm gonna go, making my money. And so Suge was like, leave him alone. Let him do what he gotta do. But this guy named Dave Mystery from Breakaway Records came and started talking to us. And he wanted the rights to Nate Dogg. Cause it was like, you ain't putting Nate Dogg album out. And he was like, well, I already did this album on and you know, Papa G over there working for him and Keita Rock and all of them. I eventually started working with David Mystery. That's who helped me put out The Relatives in 2002 after he came and worked for me and running retail. And then he got back on his feet after Breakaway went down and opened up American Music, and he hired me after I broke away from Suge. Me and David Mystery still tight to this day. But anyway, he was like, what can I do to get Nate Dogg? I was like, I don't know, we got this money. He said, well, if you sell us this album that you already got done and that video, I'll make it a double. And that's why Nate Dogg album came out as a double CD, because they already had the album done. And then we sold them the album that we had did for Nate Dogg for $500,000. And Nate Dogg signed off to, we're not owing Nate Dogg any more money or any more publishing. That's why I always laugh when all these guys sold everything and then they put lawsuits into the bankruptcy court, but we didn't care. I was on bankruptcy. None of them still got paid from the bankruptcy, but that's what the deal with Nate Dogg was. And for those that really cared and want to know why Nate Dogg didn't come out on Death Row, even though that CD was already pressed up and we did a music video to it, that's the real reason what happened with Nate Dogg. And